Well, it's part of Denmark. It's like saying that someone wants to take over Hawaii or Alaska or Nebraska, if you will. So it's not so much that feel like we have a relationship. It's part of our country. So people get quite upset over here when these things happen.
When you look at it, I mean, I'm thinking of the Air Force and the defense of Denmark, and I'm going to suggest, it's not going to compete with the U.S. What is the approach here to defend these decades and century-old relationship? Is it knock on Brussels' door and say, Brussels, help us? Or is it Denmark alone?
Denmark has been very clear for a long time that obviously needs a bit of help to protect a big territory like that. But from 1951, Denmark entered into an agreement with the US about protecting Greenland. US can put up as much military as they like. All they really have to do is just call Copenhagen. The Danish Prime Minister has also opened the door to expanding its cooperation with the US on the military presence on Greenland. So I think for Denmark, it's really hard to see what the problem is if we're talking about really defending Greenland, because Denmark has lots of ideas how to do it.
So, Sara, the average person on the street in Denmark, how do they view Greenland and this particular challenge to what you've characterized as kind of your ownership, obviously? How do they feel, the average person on the street?
Well, Denmark and Greenland has had a long and at times a very, very complicated relationship. Greenlanders come to Denmark to go to school. They go to the hospital for very complicated issues. But the relationship has also been fraught. Greenlandic people have very, very many times felt like Denmark has been this evil, imperialistic owner that's come in and imposed our values on them. Like, the cultures can be quite different. But having said that, Denmark still feels that Greenland is part of the Danish kingdom as much as the Faroe Island is. And up until last year, or if we go back to 2019 when Trump first floated the idea of, back then it was buying Greenland, not taking over, as it looks like, it sounds more like now. People just, I don't think any country would like someone coming in to steal territory. I think Danes are quite upset about that notion.
Sir, we're so honored to have you on with us today. Let me do an audible. In the zeitgeist of America, the feeling is no one in Europe is doing the migrant issue better than Denmark. What is the Denmark strategy with the crushing migrant inflows that other countries are dealing with?
Well, the Danish Prime Minister, being a social democrat, but I think what you're referring to there is that she's found a way to be like a really like a middle party, still a good social democrat, but being really tough on immigration. So Denmark has some of the toughest rule on immigration in Europe right now, and we're not taking in a lot of immigrants if the government can avoid it. It's interesting that we have a general election coming up in 2026. We don't know exactly when it is, but the Prime Minister has to call it no later than the end of October. And immigration is such a big issue in that election. It's the Prime Minister has gone very, very tough of immigration, but she's lost some voters on it. She's also gained a lot of voters. So it's a little bit, like, is she gaining enough on the right hand, the ones she's losing with the left hand? And that's what they're trying to figure out now. How tough can you really be on immigration?